Captain Lee Ji-won stared at the glowing screen in front of him. The numbers kept changing, but they all said the same thing. Something was out there. Something big. The Mars orbital station hummed quietly around him as he worked through the night shift. 3 months ago, the deep space sensors had picked up strange signals. At first, everyone thought it was just space noise. Dead stars and cosmic radiation made all kinds of sounds. But these signals were different. They had patterns. They repeated. They meant something. Ji-won rubbed his tired eyes and took another sip of cold coffee. He had been a communications officer for 12 years, ever since Earth built its first permanent station around Mars. He had heard every kind of signal the universe could make. This was not natural. The door to the communications center slid open with a soft hiss. Commander Park Hyun-woo walked in carrying a data pad and wearing a worried expression. His usually neat uniform looked wrinkled like he had been sleeping in it. "Any changes in the signals?" Park asked. Ji-won shook his head. "Same patterns as yesterday." "But Commander, I finished running the translation program. You need to see this." Park moved closer to the main display. The screen showed wave patterns and frequency charts that meant nothing to most people. But at the bottom, in simple Earth letters, words appeared. Primitive species detected. Assessment required before standard protocols. Park felt his stomach drop. "Are you sure about this translation?" "I ran it through every program we have," Ji-won replied. "The computer is confident. This is definitely a message, and it is definitely about us." The two men stared at the screen in silence. For 50 years, humans had wondered if they were alone in the universe. Scientists had built bigger and bigger telescopes. They had sent radio signals into space hoping for an answer. They had explored Mars and the outer planets looking for any sign of life. Now they had their answer, and it did not sound friendly. Park picked up the secure communication device from his belt. "Get me Earth Command immediately. Priority Alpha." While they waited for the connection, more messages appeared on the screen. Ji-won watched the translations appear one by one. Military assessment, kinetic weapons only. Energy shields unnecessary. Recommended action, standard subjugation protocol. Timeline, immediate implementation authorized. Park's communication device buzzed. A voice came through clearly despite the distance to Earth. "This is General Kim Tae-hyun. Report. Sir, we have confirmed alien contact. The signals we detected are definitely from an intelligent species. They appear to be discussing Earth and humanity." There was a long pause from Earth. "Are they friendly?" Park looked at the screen where new messages kept appearing. "No, sir. I do not think they are. Send everything to Earth Command immediately. I am calling an emergency meeting." The connection ended. Park turned to Ji-won. "Download everything. Every signal, every translation, every analysis. Earth needs to know what we are dealing with." As Ji-won worked, more messages filled the screen. The aliens seemed to be having a detailed conversation about Earth's military capabilities. They mentioned something called the Dominion Collective and references to 12 different species working together. "Captain," Ji-won said quietly, "look at this new message." The screen displayed a longer translation. "Species designation, humans. Technology level, primitive. Primary weapons, chemical explosives and metal projectiles. Threat assessment, minimal. Recommended response. Single envoy ship for ultimatum delivery." Park felt cold despite the warm air in the station. These aliens had been watching Earth. They knew about human weapons and technology. They had already decided that humans were not worth worrying about. 3 days later, the alien ship appeared. It came out of nowhere, suddenly visible near Earth's moon like it had always been there. The ship was enormous, bigger than any structure humans had ever built. It was silver and smooth with no visible engines or weapons. It just hung in space like a metal moon. General Kim stood in the underground command center in Seoul, watching the alien ship on the main screen. Around him, military officers from every nation on Earth stared at humanity's first visitor from another world. "Sir," reported Colonel Choi Min-soo, "the ship is sending a communication signal. They want to meet with Earth's highest military authority." "Where?" Kim asked. They specified Geneva. "Tomorrow at noon." They said to prepare a place for final negotiations. Kim did not like the sound of that. "Final negotiations for what?" "They did not say, sir." The meeting took place in a large conference room at the United Nations building. General Kim sat at one end of a long table. At the other end stood something that had never been seen on Earth before. The alien looked almost human but wrong in small ways. It was taller than any person, with skin that seemed to shimmer in the light. Its eyes were too large and completely black. When it spoke, the words came from a small device attached to its chest, not from its mouth. "I am Representative Vex of the Dominion Collective," the device said in perfect English. "I speak for 12 species and 2,000 years of galactic civilization." General Kim leaned forward. "I am General Kim Taehyun, representing the people of Earth. We welcome this first contact between our species." The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "This is not first contact, General Kim. We have been observing your species for 6 months. We know everything about your capabilities. Then you know we are a peaceful people who want to learn from other civilizations." "Peaceful?" The alien's device translated what sounded like amusement. "We have observed your wars, your weapons, your constant conflicts. You are not peaceful. You are simply primitive." Kim felt anger rising but kept his voice calm. "What do you want from us?" The alien touched something on its wrist and a 3-dimensional image appeared above the table. It showed a planet that looked like Earth, covered in green forests and blue oceans. Then the image changed. The planet became gray and dead, its surface scarred and lifeless. "This is what happens to species that refuse Dominion membership," Vex said. "You have 30 of your solar rotations to decide. Complete integration into the Dominion Collective or face cleansing operations." "Cleansing operations?" The image changed again, showing massive ships firing beams of energy at the dead planet's surface. Cities disappeared in flashes of light. Mountains melted like ice in summer. "Your kinetic weapons and chemical explosives are amusing toys," Vex continued. "We have energy shields that make them useless. We have ships that can destroy your entire civilization in hours. Resistance would be both foolish and brief." General Kim stared at the images. He thought about Earth's missiles and bombs, its tanks and fighter jets. Everything humanity had built to defend itself suddenly seemed as useless as stones thrown at a battleship. "What if we refuse?" he asked. "Then Earth will be cleansed and a more suitable species will be given this planet." "The choice is yours, General Kim, 30 days. The alien touched its wrist again and the images disappeared. Without another word, it walked out of the room. Kim sat alone at the long table, staring at the spot where humanity's fate had just been decided. In 30 days, Earth would either surrender its freedom or face total destruction. And according to the aliens, human weapons could not stop them. He picked up his phone to call every military leader on the planet. 30 days was not much time to find a miracle. President Han Eugene walked down the long corridor that led to the emergency bunker beneath Seoul. Her footsteps echoed off the metal walls as she tried to process what General Kim had told her over the secure phone. 30 days. Earth had 30 days to surrender or die. The elevator took her deep underground past levels of concrete and steel designed to survive nuclear war. Now she wondered if it would be enough to survive alien energy weapons. The doors opened to reveal the Global Defense Council chamber, filled with the most powerful military leaders on the planet. General Kim stood at the front of the room next to a large screen showing Earth from space. Around the curved table sat generals and admirals from America, Russia, China, Britain, France, and every other major nation. They had stopped their petty arguments and territorial disputes very quickly when faced with extinction. "Ladies and gentlemen," President Han said as she took her seat, "we are here because humanity faces its greatest threat. General Kim will brief you on our situation." Kim pressed a button on his remote control. The screen showed the alien ship near the moon, looking like a silver mountain floating in space. 48 hours ago, we received an ultimatum from something called the Dominion Collective. They want us to surrender completely, or they will destroy our civilization. Admiral Johnson from the American Navy leaned forward. "What do we know about their military capabilities?" "Everything we know is bad news," Kim replied. He clicked to the next slide, showing the holographic images the alien had displayed. "They have energy shields that can stop our missiles and bombs. Their ships can destroy cities with single shots. According to their representative, our weapons are useless toys." General Petrov from Russia slammed his hand on the table. "No weapon is useless. There must be something we can do." "That brings me to our assets," Kim said. He clicked again, and the screen showed Earth's military statistics. "We have 17,000 nuclear warheads, the largest conventional military in galactic history, and manufacturing capability that can produce weapons faster than any previous civilization. But can we produce them fast enough?" asked General Chen from China. And will they work against energy shields? Colonel Choi Min-soo stepped forward from his position against the wall. He was the head of Earth's Strategic Response Division, a secret organization that planned for impossible scenarios. Until now, alien invasion had been theoretical. We have been analyzing every piece of information from the alien contact, Choi said. We found 3 potential advantages. First, our manufacturing speed. Human factories can produce weapons and equipment faster than any species we know about, because we are used to constant war. Second, he continued, is our tactical thinking. Humans have spent thousands of years fighting each other with limited resources. We are very good at finding unexpected solutions to impossible problems. And the third advantage? President Han asked. Choi looked around the room before answering. The aliens completely dismiss what they call our kinetic weapons. Bullets, artillery shells, anything that works by hitting the target physically rather than with energy. They think these weapons are primitive and useless. Are they right? Admiral Johnson asked. Maybe not, Choi said. We need to study their technology more carefully. While the political and military leaders argued strategy in the main conference room, a different kind of meeting was happening in a smaller room down the hall. Dr. Yoon So-min, Earth's top physicist, sat with 3 other scientists around a table covered with computer printouts and technical diagrams. Look at these energy readings from the alien ship, Dr. Yoon said, pointing to a complex graph. Their shields operate on rotating frequencies designed to disperse energy-based attacks. Dr. Martinez from the American Weapons Laboratory nodded. That makes sense. Energy weapons would create heat and electromagnetic pulses. The shields probably scatter that energy safely. But what about physical impact? Asked Dr. Petrov, the Russian weapons expert. A shield designed to stop energy might not stop a solid object moving fast enough. Dr. Yoon pulled up another display on her laptop computer. That is exactly what I was thinking. Their shields might be like armor designed to stop laser guns but not regular bullets. How fast would the bullet need to move? Dr. Martinez asked. Very fast, Dr. Yoon replied. Faster than anything we normally use. But it might be possible. 3,000 miles away in Alaska, Staff Sergeant Bae Sun-ho was cleaning his rifle when the secure communication device beside his bunk started beeping. He had been expecting the call since news of alien contact reached the remote military base where he was stationed. Sun-ho was not like most soldiers. He was a sniper, trained to kill enemies from distances so far they never knew he was there. More importantly, he was the best sniper in the American military and possibly the best in the world. His record spoke for itself. 247 confirmed kills across 3 continents. The longest successful shot in military history at 2.1 miles, which had ended a terrorist crisis in Mumbai 2 years earlier. But what made Sun-ho special was not just his aim. It was his ability to calculate impossible shots under conditions other snipers would consider hopeless. Sergeant Bae, the voice on the communication device said, "You are ordered to report to Seoul immediately for special assignment. Transportation is being arranged." Sun-ho looked out the window of his barracks at the Alaskan wilderness. He had been enjoying the peace and quiet after his last deployment. Apparently his rest was over. Understood, he replied. What is the nature of the assignment? Classified. Pack for extended deployment and bring your equipment. Sun-ho began packing his gear carefully. His custom rifle, built specifically for extreme long-range shots. Specialized ammunition designed for accuracy over distance. Weather monitoring equipment to calculate wind speed and atmospheric conditions. All the tools he needed to kill enemies who thought they were safe because they were far away. He did not know it yet, but he was packing the weapons that would save humanity. Back in Seoul, the Global Defense Council meeting was reaching its conclusion. President Han stood at the head of the table, looking at the faces of the most powerful military leaders on Earth. We have 27 days remaining, she said. Our conventional weapons may not work against their shields, but we will not surrender without a fight. Colonel Choi, I want every possible option explored. Yes, ma'am, Choi replied. We are already working on several approaches. Dr. Yoon's team is studying their technology for weaknesses. We are calling in our best specialists from around the world. What about their demand for surrender? Asked General Petrov. President Han's expression hardened. We will respond when we are ready. Until then, we prepare for war. As the meeting ended and the leaders returned to their countries, Colonel Choi remained behind with Dr. Yoon. They had work to do and very little time to do it. Doctor, Choi said, how confident are you that kinetic weapons might work? 60%, she replied. Maybe 70 if we can modify them properly. The physics make sense. Energy shields should not be designed to stop high-velocity physical projectiles. Then we need to test that theory. And we need someone who can make impossible shots under perfect conditions. Who did you have in mind? Choi smiled for the first time since the alien ultimatum. The best shooter on the planet is arriving tomorrow. If anyone can prove that old-fashioned bullets can beat alien technology, it will be Sergeant Bae Sun-ho. Outside, the alien ship continued its silent orbit around Earth's moon, waiting for humanity's surrender. Its crew had no idea that humans were already planning to turn their greatest weakness into their ultimate strength. The morning sky over Seoul turned dark as the alien fleet arrived. 47 massive ships appeared without warning, blocking out the sun above every major city on Earth. Each vessel was the size of a small island, their silver surfaces reflecting the lights of the world below. Admiral Rex stood on the command bridge of his flagship, looking down at Earth through the transparent viewing wall. The planet looked peaceful from this distance with its blue oceans and white clouds. Soon it would look very different, status report, Rex commanded in his deep voice. The Admiral was a member of the Taurian species, standing 8 feet tall with 4 arms and skin like polished stone. He had conquered 63 worlds for the Dominion Collective using the same simple strategy every time. All ships in position, Admiral, reported his second-in-command. Ground forces ready for deployment. Orbital bombardment systems fully charged. Rex nodded with satisfaction. This would be another easy victory. His intelligence reports showed that humans still used primitive kinetic weapons, bullets and bombs that would bounce harmlessly off Dominion energy shields. The conquest would be over in hours. Open communication with the human military, Rex ordered. On Earth, General Kim received the transmission in his underground command center. The alien admiral's image appeared on the main screen, towering and intimidating. I am Admiral Rex of the Dominion Fleet, the alien said through his translation device. Your 30 days have expired. What is your decision? General Kim stood straight and looked directly at the alien commander. Earth rejects your ultimatum. We will defend our world. Admiral Rex made a sound that his translator interpreted as laughter. Very well. You have chosen extinction. We will begin with your military installations, then proceed to population centers. Your primitive weapons cannot harm us. The transmission ended. Rex turned to his weapons officer. Begin orbital bombardment. Target their largest military bases first. The first energy beams struck Earth's surface like lightning from heaven. The Pentagon in America disappeared in a flash of light. Military bases in Russia and China simply vanished, leaving only glass craters where they had stood. In minutes, humanity's most important defense installations were gone. But Earth's leaders had prepared for this. The real command centers were deep underground, and the most important military units had been moved to hidden locations. The aliens had destroyed empty buildings and obsolete equipment. Phase 1 complete, Rex's weapons officer reported. No return fire detected. Excellent. Begin ground assault. Transport ships launched from the main fleet carrying thousands of Dominion warriors to Earth's surface. General Voss led the first wave, eager to claim his share of glory in this easy conquest. General Voss was a member of the hegemony species, bred for warfare across countless generations. Standing 7 feet tall and covered in natural armor-like skin, he had personally led ground assaults on 28 worlds. None had lasted more than 6 hours. The transport landed in a field outside London. Voss stepped out with his energy rifle ready, surrounded by 200 elite warriors. Each soldier wore personal energy shields that could stop any human weapon. Their armor was designed to absorb massive amounts of damage. They were the perfect weapons for conquering primitive species. Advance on the city, Voss commanded. Eliminate all resistance. The Dominion warriors marched toward London in perfect formation. British military units tried to stop them, firing rifles and launching missiles. But just as predicted, the human weapons were useless. Bullets bounced off energy shields like raindrops. Explosive shells detonated harmlessly against alien armor. Voss watched with boredom as human soldiers scattered before his advance. This was not even worthy of being called a battle. It was more like stepping on insects. 300 miles away in the mountains of Scotland, Sergeant Bae Sun-ho lay motionless behind his rifle. He had been in position for 6 hours waiting for this moment. Through his advanced scope, he could see the alien commander clearly despite the incredible distance. Corporal Lee Ji-hoon, his spotter, lay beside him with weather monitoring equipment and calculation computers. "Wind speed steady at 12 miles per hour from the northwest," Ji-hoon whispered. Temperature dropping 2 degrees. Atmospheric pressure stable. Sun-ho made tiny adjustments to his rifle scope. The weapon itself was not standard military equipment. Dr. Yoon's team had modified it extensively over the past 3 weeks. The barrel was longer and stronger. The ammunition was specially designed with tungsten cores for maximum penetration. Most importantly, the entire system was built for one purpose: to fire solid projectiles at speeds no alien shield had ever been tested against. "Range to target?" Sun-ho asked quietly. 3.2 miles, Ji-hoon replied. "Target is stationary, giving commands to his troops." Sun-ho controlled his breathing and felt his heartbeat slow. This would be the longest shot he had ever attempted, under the most difficult conditions imaginable. If he missed, the aliens would know humans were targeting them. If he succeeded, it might give Earth the advantage it desperately needed. Through his scope, he could see General Voss clearly. The alien commander stood in the middle of his formation, confident that no human weapon could reach him at this distance. His personal energy shield shimmered slightly in the air around him, invisible except for a faint distortion. "Calculating trajectory," Sun-ho whispered, making final adjustments. The bullet would take 11 seconds to reach its target, traveling through changing wind conditions and atmospheric density. He had to aim not at where the target was, but where it would be when the bullet arrived. Captain Onari's voice came through his earpiece from the weather station 20 miles away. "Wind shifting to northwest by north. Pressure steady. You are clear for the shot." Sun-ho placed his finger on the trigger and took a deep breath. Everything depended on the next few seconds. If Dr. Yoon was right about the alien shields, this tungsten core bullet would pass through the energy barrier like it was not there. If she was wrong, the shot would fail and the aliens would know humans were still fighting. "Target acquired," he whispered. Taking the shot, the rifle fired with a sound like thunder echoing across the mountains. The specially designed bullet left the barrel at 2,800 feet per second, beginning its long journey through the atmosphere toward a target that did not know death was coming. General Voss continued giving orders to his battalion commanders, completely unaware that a human sniper was about to change the course of the war. His personal shield glowed faintly as it deflected small debris from the air, proof that Dominion technology was superior to anything humans could produce. The alien sensors detected the incoming projectile 8 seconds before impact, but their computers programmed to identify threats, classified the bullet as low-velocity debris, and took no defensive action. After all, what harm could a simple piece of metal do to advanced alien technology? Admiral Rex watched from orbit as his ground forces advanced on major cities around the world. Everything was proceeding exactly according to plan. In a few more hours, human resistance would be completely crushed, and Earth would belong to the Dominion Collective. He had no way of knowing that in the Scottish mountains, a human with a modified rifle had just fired the shot that would change everything. General Voss raised his four-armed frame to full height as he addressed his battalion commanders. The conquest of Earth was proceeding even faster than his most optimistic projections. Human resistance had crumbled wherever his forces advanced. Their primitive weapons were exactly as useless as Dominion intelligence had predicted. "Secure the city center within 2 hours," Voss commanded, his voice carrying easily across the battlefield. "Establish processing centers for civilian populations. This world will be fully pacified before the next solar cycle." The hegemony warriors around him stood at attention, their personal energy shields glowing faintly in the afternoon light. Each shield could deflect enough firepower to level a building. Against human weapons, they were completely invincible. 3.2 miles away, the tungsten core bullet continued its 11-second journey through Earth's atmosphere. The projectile, no larger than a human thumb, carried with it the hopes of an entire civilization. Dr. Yoon's calculations had been precise. At 2,800 feet per second, the bullet would maintain enough velocity to penetrate alien shielding, assuming her theories about energy barriers were correct. Admiral Rex observed the ground assault from his command bridge, already composing his victory report to the Dominion High Council. The humans had shown more coordination than expected, but their technological limitations made resistance impossible. Within 6 hours, Earth would be completely under Dominion control. Admiral, his communications officer reported, we are receiving surrender requests from 17 human governments. Should we accept them? No, Rex replied. The ultimatum period has expired. Total pacification is required now. The tungsten bullet crossed the 2-mile mark of its flight path, beginning to encounter denser atmosphere as it descended toward its target. Sergeant Sunho's calculations had accounted for gravitational drop, wind resistance, and atmospheric distortion. If everything worked perfectly, the shot would strike General Voss' center mass in 3 more seconds. General Voss continued his briefing, unaware that death was approaching at nearly 3 times the speed of sound. His personal shield registered the incoming projectile, but dismissed it as harmless debris. The Dominion's most advanced defensive technology had never been tested against high-velocity solid projectiles, because no enemy had ever been primitive enough to use them. Sir, one of his subordinates interrupted. Human military units are attempting to regroup in the eastern sectors. Should we pursue?
Let them run, Voss replied with contempt. They cannot hide from our sensors, and their weapons cannot penetrate our defenses.
We will hunt them down at our leisure. 2 seconds remaining. In his mountain position, Sergeant Sunho watched through his scope as the alien commander gestured confidently to his troops. The distance was too great to see the bullet's flight, but Sunho's experience told him the shot was true. Everything depended on whether Dr. Yoon's theories about energy shields were correct. 1 second remaining. The bullet struck General Voss precisely where Sunho had aimed, hitting the alien commander center mass with over 8,000 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. The personal energy shield, designed to disperse plasma bursts and particle beams, offered no resistance whatsoever to the solid tungsten projectile. General Voss died instantly, his body crumpling to the ground without sound or ceremony. One moment he stood commanding the invasion of Earth. The next moment he was gone, killed by what the Dominion considered humanity's most primitive weapon. The reaction among the alien troops was immediate and profound. For 3 seconds, nobody moved. The concept of their invincible commander simply falling dead was beyond their understanding. Then chaos erupted. "Commander down!" shouted a hegemony warrior. "Medical assistance required!" But there was nothing medical teams could do. General Voss was dead, killed by a weapon their technology could not even detect as dangerous. Panic spread through the alien ranks as they realized their most advanced defenses had failed completely. Admiral Rex watched his ground commander's vital signs disappear from the command display. "What happened to General Voss?" he demanded. "Unknown, sir," his tactical officer replied. His shield showed no energy weapon impacts, no explosive detonations detected. He simply stopped. "Equipment malfunction." "Negative, Admiral. All his equipment was functioning normally until the moment of death." Rex stared at the tactical display in confusion. In his long military career, he had never encountered anything like this. Dominion warriors did not simply die for no reason. Something had killed his ground commander, but his sensors showed no evidence of any attack. "Recall all units to secure positions," Rex ordered. "Something is wrong here." On Earth, news of the successful shot spread quickly through the human resistance network. General Kim received the confirmation in his bunker command center and felt hope for the first time since the invasion began. "Confirmed kill on alien ground commander," Colonel Choi reported. Sergeant Sunho's shot was successful. The target's shield did not stop the bullet. "Dr. Yoon was right," Kim replied. "Their shields cannot handle kinetic weapons." "Orders, sir? Implement Operation Longshot immediately. Every sniper team we have prepared goes active. Target priority is command personnel." Around the world, human sniper teams that had been positioned and waiting received their orders. Each team had been equipped with modified rifles and tungsten core ammunition. Each had been given specific alien targets identified through careful reconnaissance. Staff Sergeant Park Minho lay in position outside Moscow, his crosshairs centered on Sub-Commander Zale of the Taurian fleet. The alien officer stood on a balcony, directing orbital bombardment coordinates against human resistance positions. "Wind calm. Target stationary," whispered his spotter, Sergeant Kim Dongwoo. Minho fired. The shot traveled 2.8 miles in 9 seconds, striking the alien commander through his energy shield as if it did not exist. Sub-Commander Zale collapsed, joining General Voss in death by primitive human weapons. In China, Master Sergeant Li Hyongyu targeted Field Marshal Grix, who was coordinating ground operations across the Asian continent. The 3.1-mile shot took 12 seconds to reach its target, but the result was the same. Another alien commander dead, killed by technology the Dominion considered obsolete. Similar scenes played out across 6 continents as human snipers began their systematic elimination of alien leadership. Each shot was carefully planned and precisely executed. Each death sent waves of confusion and fear through the Dominion forces. Admiral Rex watched in growing alarm as his command structure collapsed. Within 4 hours, he had lost 7 senior officers to unknown causes. Medical teams could find no evidence of energy weapon impacts or explosive damage. The commanders simply died one by one with no explanation. "Sir," his intelligence officer reported, "we are detecting pattern behavior. Each death occurs when the commander is in an exposed position, giving orders to ground troops." "Are you suggesting the humans are targeting our officers specifically?" "It is possible, Admiral. But how are they killing them? Our shields show no energy weapon hits. Our sensors detect no missile impacts." Rex studied the tactical displays showing his remaining ground forces. His commanders were becoming reluctant to leave their shielded positions. Morale was dropping rapidly as news of the mysterious deaths spread through the ranks. For the first time since beginning the invasion, Admiral Rex felt something he had not experienced in decades of conquest: uncertainty. The humans were doing something his technology could not detect or prevent. Their primitive weapons were somehow bypassing the most advanced defenses in the galaxy. "Recall all ground forces to minimum safe distance," Rex ordered. "Increase orbital bombardment to compensate." As alien troops retreated to their landing zones, human resistance fighters emerged from hiding to harass their withdrawal. The psychological effect of the sniper campaign was working exactly as Colonel Choi had hoped. The invincible Dominion warriors were acting afraid. In his mountain position, Sergeant Sunho prepared for his second shot. Through his scope, he could see another high-value target, Admiral Rex himself, visible through the viewing port of his command bridge. The distance would be even greater this time, over 4 miles through atmosphere. But Sunho had already calculated the trajectory. "Can you make that shot?" Corporal Jehoon asked quietly. Sunho adjusted his scope and checked the wind readings one more time. "Only one way to find out," he replied. "The fate of Earth might depend on the next bullet he fired." The news of General Voss's death spread through both human and alien communication networks like wildfire. For humanity, it represented the first crack in what had seemed like an impenetrable alien superiority. For the Dominion Collective, it was a disturbing mystery that challenged everything they thought they knew about primitive species. Admiral Rex stood in his private quarters aboard the flagship, staring at the tactical reports spread across his desk. In the past 6 hours, he had lost 12 senior officers to what his medical teams could only describe as instantaneous system failure. No energy weapons detected. No explosive impacts recorded. His commanders were simply dying one by one, and he had no explanation. The door to his quarters slid open and Chief Science Officer Karan entered. The Taurian scientist looked as confused as Rex felt, carrying data tablets filled with analysis that made no sense. "Admiral," Karan said, "we have completed our investigation into the command staff deaths. The results are troubling." "Explain." Karan activated a holographic display showing General Voss's final moments. "Watch carefully. The general is addressing his troops when suddenly he collapses. Our sensors show no energy discharge, no projectile impact, no chemical traces. Then how did he die?" "That is where it becomes interesting," Karen replied, switching to a different display. "We found microscopic traces of a tungsten alloy embedded in the general's armor. The fragments show evidence of extreme velocity impact." Rex leaned forward. "Projectile weapons?" "But our shields stop all kinetic attacks. Our shields are designed to stop explosive projectiles and low-velocity impacts," Karan explained. "We never considered that a species might use solid, high-velocity projectiles without explosive warheads. You are telling me that human bullets can penetrate our shields?" "Not regular bullets, Admiral, but projectiles moving at extreme velocities made from dense materials appear to pass through our energy barriers as if they were not there." Rex felt something he had not experienced in decades of military service: fear. "How is this possible?" We have the most advanced defensive technology in the galaxy. Our technology is advanced, Karan replied, but it was designed to counter energy weapons and explosive devices. We assumed all civilizations would follow the same technological development path we did. We never prepared for enemies who perfected kinetic weapons instead of energy weapons. While Admiral Rex struggled to understand how his forces were being systematically destroyed, Colonel Choi stood in the Earth Command Center coordinating the most important military operation in human history. Operation Longshot was exceeding all expectations. Sniper Team 7 reports successful elimination of target Omega-12, reported Captain Kang Hyung-yu. Sniper Team 3 is in position for target Alpha 7. Ammunition status? Choi asked. Manufacturing facilities are producing tungsten core rounds at maximum capacity, replied Major Song Ji-young from the Weapons Coordination Center. We have enough specialized ammunition for 3 more days of sustained operations. Dr. Yoon entered the command center carrying her latest analysis of alien technology. Colonel, we have new intelligence on their shield systems. The energy barriers operate on rotating frequencies, designed to dissipate plasma and particle beam attacks, but they have virtually no defense against solid matter traveling above certain velocity thresholds. What velocity threshold? Approximately 2,400 feet per second minimum, Dr. Yoon replied. Our modified rifles are firing at 2,800 feet per second, well above their defensive parameters. How many sniper teams do we have operational? 47 teams worldwide, each equipped with modified weapons and specialized ammunition. We are targeting every alien officer we can identify. Choi nodded with satisfaction. Continue operations. Priority targets are ship commanders and ground force leaders. 4 miles above Earth's surface, Sergeant Sunho made final adjustments to his rifle scope. His second target was the most ambitious yet, Admiral Rex himself, visible through the transparent viewing port of the alien flagship's command bridge. The shot would be longer than anything attempted in human history, over 4 miles through varying atmospheric conditions. Target movement? Sunho asked his spotter. Minimal, Corporal Juhoon replied. The ship is maintaining stable position. Wind conditions favorable. Range to target? 4.1 miles, accounting for orbital position changes. Sunho had spent 2 hours calculating the trajectory for this shot. The bullet would need to travel through thinner atmosphere at altitude, requiring adjustments for air density, gravitational drop, and the target ship's slight orbital movement. Captain Onari's voice came through his communication device from the weather monitoring station. Atmospheric conditions optimal. Pressure steady. You are clear for the shot. Through his scope, Sunho could see Admiral Rex clearly. The alien commander stood at his command station, studying tactical displays that showed his forces retreating from human sniper attacks. Rex had no idea that death was about to travel 4 miles through Earth's atmosphere to find him. Target acquired, Sunho whispered, firing. The modified rifle discharged with tremendous force, sending the tungsten core bullet on its 13-second journey through increasingly thin air toward the alien flagship. This single shot represented humanity's ultimate gamble: kill the enemy commander and hope his death would end the invasion. Admiral Rex continued studying his tactical displays, trying to understand how primitive humans were defeating his advanced technology. His shield systems were operating normally. His sensors showed no incoming threats. Everything indicated that his position was completely secure. The Dominion sensors detected the incoming projectile 9 seconds before impact, but their threat assessment programs dismissed it as space debris. No enemy would be foolish enough to fire simple projectiles at a heavily shielded command ship from such impossible distances. Admiral, his tactical officer reported, we are receiving withdrawal requests from 6 ground commanders. They report continued losses to unknown weapons. Denied, Rex replied firmly. We do not retreat from primitive species. 5 seconds to impact. Sir, morale among ground forces is deteriorating rapidly. The troops are requesting permission to remain in shielded positions. Our shields make us invincible, Rex declared. Human weapons cannot harm us. 3 seconds to impact. The tungsten bullet struck the transparent viewing port at full velocity, passing through the energy shield like it was empty air. The projectile hit Admiral Rex center mass with devastating kinetic energy, killing him instantly. The effect on the alien fleet was immediate and catastrophic. Without their supreme commander, the Dominion forces lost all coordination. Ship captains began making independent decisions about whether to continue the assault or withdraw to safety. Captain Vane, now the senior surviving officer, assumed command of the fleet. His first order was to retreat all ground forces to minimum safe distance from human sniper positions. His second order was to request emergency reinforcements from the Dominion High Council. Send priority message to High Command, Vane ordered. Earth's primitive weapons are more dangerous than assessed. Admiral Rex is dead. Ground commanders eliminated by unknown attack methods. Request immediate tactical reassessment and reinforcement. On Earth, news of Admiral Rex's death spread through the human resistance network within minutes. In command centers around the world, military leaders who had faced certain defeat 12 hours earlier began to believe that victory might be possible. General Kim received the confirmation of the successful shot and immediately activated the next phase of Earth's defense plan. All units begin Operation Comeback. The enemy is retreating. Press the attack. Human forces that had been hiding in bunkers and underground facilities emerged to harass the withdrawing alien troops. Armed with the new anti-shield ammunition, human soldiers found that their weapons were suddenly effective against enemy personal shields. Dr. Yoon's manufacturing facilities worked around the clock to produce more tungsten core ammunition. Every bullet factory on Earth retooled their production lines to create the specialized rounds that could penetrate alien defenses. The Dominion fleet, which had arrived expecting an easy conquest, found itself trapped in orbit around a world that fought back with weapons they could not defend against. Their energy shields, designed to stop the most advanced weapons in the galaxy, were useless against human bullets fired fast enough. As night fell over the battlefield, the situation had completely reversed. The aliens who had dismissed human weapons as primitive toys were retreating in confusion and fear, while the humans who had faced extinction were advancing with renewed confidence. The war was far from over, but for the first time since the invasion began, humanity had reason to hope they might survive. Captain Vane stood in the command center of the alien flagship, staring at tactical displays that showed a complete reversal of fortune. What should have been a simple conquest had become a nightmare of confusion and retreat. Half his command staff was dead, killed by weapons his sensors could not detect as threats. Status report on ground forces, Vane ordered, his voice tight with frustration. All units have withdrawn to minimum safe perimeter, his tactical officer replied. Casualties among officers at 60%. Morale is critically low. How are the humans killing our commanders? What weapons are they using? Analysis suggests high-velocity kinetic projectiles, sir. Solid metal bullets fired at speeds that penetrate our energy shields. Vane could hardly believe what he was hearing. The most advanced military force in the galaxy was being defeated by metal bullets. It was impossible, yet the evidence was undeniable. Priority transmission from Dominion High Command, his communications officer announced. The main screen activated, showing the stern face of Supreme Admiral Krex, the highest military authority in the Dominion Collective. His expression made it clear that he was not pleased with the situation on Earth. Captain Vane, Supreme Admiral Krex said, explain why a primitive species is destroying our invasion force. Sir, human weapons are not as primitive as our intelligence indicated. They have developed kinetic projectiles that can penetrate our shield systems. Impossible. Our shields stop all known projectile weapons. Not all projectiles, sir. High-velocity solid rounds pass through our energy barriers without resistance. We lost Admiral Rex to a single bullet fired from over 4 miles away. Supreme Admiral Krex was silent for several seconds, processing this information. Are you telling me that simple bullets can defeat Dominion technology? Yes, sir. The humans have specialized their kinetic weapons beyond our defensive parameters. This is unacceptable. Implement nuclear sterilization protocols. Destroy the planet's surface completely. Sir, that would eliminate any useful resources from this world. Better to destroy Earth than allow news of this defeat to spread through the galaxy. If other species learn that primitive kinetic weapons can penetrate our shields, it will encourage resistance movements everywhere. As the alien fleet prepared for planetary destruction, human forces on Earth were mobilizing for their most desperate gamble yet. General Kim stood in the command center, coordinating what might be humanity's final offensive. We have 6 hours before they begin orbital bombardment, Colonel Choi reported. Intelligence suggests they plan to destroy the entire planet, rather than risk continued defeat. What are our options? President Han asked. Operation Final Strike, Kim replied. Every sniper team, every modified weapon, every tungsten round we have. Target their ship engines and command center simultaneously. Dr. Yoon entered the command center carrying the latest technical analysis. General, we have identified critical weaknesses in their ship designs. The engine systems are protected by the same energy shields that cannot stop our bullets. Can we disable their ships? Possibly. If we can hit the right targets with enough rounds, we might force them to retreat or crash. Sergeant Sunho received his final orders while positioned on a mountain overlooking the alien fleet. This time his target was not a person, but the primary engine core of the flagship itself. The shot would be even more difficult than killing Admiral Rex, requiring the bullet to pass through ship hull plating after penetrating the energy shield. Range to primary engine intake? Sunho asked. 4.7 miles, Corporal Jihoon replied. Target is stationary but heavily armored. Can the tungsten round penetrate ship armor? Dr. Yoon says yes if we hit the right spot. The engine intake has thinner plating for heat dissipation. Around the world, 46 other sniper teams prepared for similar shots. Each team had been assigned specific targets on different alien ships. Each shot would need to be perfect, as humanity would not get a second chance. Captain Vane stood on his command bridge, watching the countdown to planetary sterilization. In 30 minutes, his fleet would begin the systematic destruction of Earth's surface. It was not the victory he had wanted, but it would prevent the embarrassment of defeat by primitive weapons. All ships report ready for orbital bombardment, his weapons officer announced. Begin charging main energy arrays, Vane ordered. Target all major population centers first, then work outward. On Earth, General Kim gave the final order. All sniper teams, you are authorized to fire at will. This is humanity's last chance. Sergeant Sunho controlled his breathing and made final adjustments to his scope. Through the crosshairs, he could see the engine intake of the alien flagship glowing with internal energy. The shot would need to travel nearly 5 miles and strike a target less than 3 feet wide. Atmospheric conditions optimal, Captain Onari reported through his earpiece. You are clear for the shot. Target acquired, Sunho whispered. Firing. The tungsten bullet left his rifle at maximum velocity, beginning its 14-second journey toward the alien ship's most vulnerable point. Around the world, 46 other rifles fired simultaneously, sending a coordinated barrage of kinetic projectiles toward the Dominion fleet. Captain Vane watched his tactical displays as the human planet prepared to die. Orbital bombardment would begin in 15 minutes. After that, Earth would be nothing but radioactive debris orbiting its star. Sir, his engineering officer called out suddenly, we are detecting multiple projectile impacts on ship hulls. Damage report. Minimal damage to armor plating. No significant. Wait, sir, we have a problem. The lights on the command bridge flickered. Deep within the ship, Sunho's bullet had found its target, penetrating the engine intake and damaging critical systems. Similar impacts were occurring across the fleet as human snipers struck at vulnerable points with precision accuracy. Engine output dropping to 60%, the engineering officer reported. We have hull breaches in multiple sections. How is this possible? Our ships are designed to withstand massive energy bombardment. The projectiles are striking areas where our armor is thinnest, sir. The humans appear to know exactly where to hit us. Across the fleet, similar damage reports came in. The human snipers had studied the alien ships carefully, identifying every weakness and vulnerability. Their coordinated attack struck at engines, sensor arrays, communication systems, and life support units. Sir, the communications officer announced, we are losing contact with 6 ships. Their engines are failing. Vane watched in growing alarm as his fleet began to break apart. Ships that had conquered dozens of worlds were being disabled by bullets fired from the planet's surface. It was the most humiliating defeat in Dominion military history. All ships begin emergency withdrawal, Vane ordered. Retreat to safe distance immediately. Sir, what about planetary sterilization? Cancelled. We cannot complete the mission with damaged ships. Signal full retreat. As the alien fleet limped away from Earth, their ships trailing debris and atmosphere from bullet holes, Supreme Admiral Krex received the final transmission from Captain Vane. Supreme Admiral, the Earth invasion has failed. Human kinetic weapons have proven effective against all our defensive systems. Recommend immediate reclassification of Earth threat level. Supreme Admiral Krex stared at the transmission in disbelief. A primitive species armed with metal bullets had defeated the most advanced military force in the galaxy. It was impossible, yet it had happened. Reclassify Earth immediately, he ordered his staff. Maximum threat level. Place this entire sector under indefinite quarantine. No Dominion forces are to approach that system without Supreme Council authorization. On Earth, humanity watched the alien fleet disappear into space, leaving behind only debris and the memory of their failed invasion. In command centers around the world, military leaders who had faced extinction 12 hours earlier began planning for the future. Sergeant Bei Sunho packed his rifle carefully, knowing that his shots had saved not just Earth, but possibly dozens of other worlds that would now know that alien invaders could be defeated. Dr. Yoon's discovery had changed the balance of power in the galaxy. President Han addressed the world that evening, standing before cameras in the rebuilt Seoul Command Center. Today, humanity proved that courage and ingenuity can overcome any technological advantage. We faced impossible odds and found a way to win. But this is only the beginning. We must prepare for their return. General Kim reviewed the casualty reports from the invasion. Earth had paid a heavy price, but humanity had survived. More importantly, they had learned that their primitive weapons were not primitive at all. They were specialized tools that could defeat any enemy, no matter how advanced. In the depths of space, the Dominion fleet continued its retreat, carrying news that would reshape galactic politics. Other alien civilizations received new intelligence reports about Earth within days. The warnings were clear and urgent. Do not underestimate human weapons. Do not assume technological superiority guarantees victory. The species that still used bullets and bombs had proven they could kill any enemy at any distance with perfect precision. Earth had become the most feared world in the galaxy, not because of advanced technology, but because humans had perfected the art of war using weapons other species had discarded as obsolete. 6 months after the failed Dominion invasion, Earth had transformed from a target for conquest into the most feared world in known space. The news of humanity's victory had spread through galactic communication networks, faster than anyone expected, carrying with it a simple but terrifying message. Primitive kinetic weapons could defeat the most advanced alien technology. Supreme Admiral Krek stood before the Dominion High Council, delivering the most humiliating report in their civilization's 2,000-year history. The council chamber, carved from a single crystal mountain on their homeworld, had never heard such devastating news. The Earth invasion failed completely, Krex announced to the assembled leaders of 12 alien species. Human kinetic weapons proved capable of penetrating all our defensive systems. We lost Admiral Rex, General Voss, and 43 other senior officers to projectile weapons we dismissed as obsolete. Council leader Zephyr, an ancient being whose species had ruled the galaxy for millennia, leaned forward with obvious displeasure. You are telling us that bullets defeated our energy shields? High-velocity solid projectiles, yes. The humans have specialized their kinetic weapons beyond our defensive parameters. Our shields were designed to stop energy attacks and explosive devices, not simple metal bullets traveling at extreme speeds. How is this possible? We have conquered hundreds of worlds. Every previous enemy followed predictable technological development patterns, Krex explained. They advanced from kinetic weapons to energy weapons as we did. Humans took a different path. They perfected kinetic systems instead of abandoning them. The implications were staggering. If other species learned that basic projectile weapons could defeat Dominion technology, it would inspire resistance movements across the galaxy. Worlds that had surrendered without fighting might reconsider their position. What is your recommendation? Council leader Zephyr asked. Complete quarantine of the Earth system, Krex replied. No contact with humans until we develop countermeasures for kinetic weapons, and immediate shield modifications for all Dominion forces. Meanwhile, on Earth, the aftermath of victory brought its own challenges. President Han stood in the newly rebuilt White House, meeting with leaders from every major nation. The successful defense had united humanity like never before, but it had also revealed how unprepared they were for galactic warfare. Intelligence reports indicate at least 17 alien civilizations have received news of our victory, General Kim reported. Most are maintaining distance, but some appear to be studying our defensive capabilities. Are they threats? President Han asked. Unknown, but we must assume some will be. Our victory over the Dominion proves that humans are dangerous. Other species may decide to eliminate us before we become a larger threat. Dr. Yoon entered the meeting room carrying her latest research findings. The physicist who had discovered the weakness in alien shielding had become Earth's most important military scientist overnight. "We have analyzed debris from the alien ships," Dr. Yoon reported. "Their technology is more vulnerable than we realized. Most galactic civilizations use similar energy-based systems, which means our tungsten rounds should be effective against any species we encounter." "How many rounds do we have in production?" asked General Chen from China. "Current production is 50,000 tungsten core bullets per day," replied Colonel Choi. "We have converted ammunition factories worldwide to produce anti-shield rounds. We also have teams working on larger kinetic weapons for ship-to-ship combat." President Han nodded with satisfaction. "Continue production at maximum capacity. If more aliens come, we will be ready." In a quiet corner of Alaska, Sergeant Bae Sun-ho sat in his barracks reading reports from around the world. His shots had started a revolution in military thinking that was spreading beyond Earth. Human snipers were being trained in techniques he had developed. His modified rifle design was being mass-produced for Special Forces units globally. Corporal Lee Ji-hoon knocked on his door and entered with a communication device. "Sergeant, you have a call from Seoul. General Kim wants to speak with you." Sun-ho activated the device and saw General Kim's face appear on the small screen. "Sergeant Bae, I wanted to personally thank you for your service during the invasion. Your actions saved not just Earth but possibly the entire human species." "I was just doing my job, sir," Sun-ho replied. "Your job changed the course of galactic history," Kim said. "We are establishing a new military academy focused on precision warfare. I want you to lead the program. Sir, I am a soldier, not a teacher. You are the soldier who proved that skill and determination can defeat any technology. Other humans need to learn what you know." Sun-ho considered the offer. Training the next generation of human snipers would ensure that Earth remained defended against any future alien threats. "I accept, sir." 3 months later, the Earth Defense Academy opened its doors in the mountains of Colorado. Sergeant Sun-ho, now promoted to Master Sergeant, stood before his first class of students. They came from every nation on Earth, united by their desire to master the weapons that had saved humanity. "Today you begin learning the most important skill in human military history," Sun-ho announced to the assembled recruits. "Precision shooting at extreme range. The aliens who attacked us dismissed our weapons as primitive toys. They learned too late that a well-placed bullet is the most advanced weapon in the galaxy." The students listened carefully as Sun-ho explained the principles of long-range marksmanship, calculating wind speed, atmospheric pressure, gravitational drop, and target movement, understanding that every shot might determine the fate of civilization. "Remember," Sun-ho continued, "we did not defeat the aliens with better technology. We defeated them with better training, better preparation, and better understanding of our weapons. Technology can be copied or stolen. Skill must be earned." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, other alien civilizations were grappling with the implications of humanity's victory. The Hegemony Empire, longtime rivals of the Dominion Collective, saw an opportunity to gain advantage by studying human weapons. Emperor Vask called his military advisors to the Imperial Palace on their homeworld. "What have we learned about these humans and their kinetic weapons?" General Keth activated a holographic display showing analysis of the Earth battle. "Their projectile weapons operate on principles we abandoned millennia ago, Your Majesty. But they have perfected these weapons to levels we never achieved." "Can we defend against such weapons?" "Our shields have the same vulnerabilities as Dominion technology. High-velocity solid projectiles would penetrate our defenses just as easily." Emperor Vask pondered this information. "Then we must approach these humans carefully, perhaps as allies rather than enemies. Your Majesty, they are a primitive species from an insignificant world. A primitive species that destroyed the most powerful fleet in the galaxy using weapons we consider obsolete," Vask replied. "That makes them very dangerous allies or very dangerous enemies." Back on Earth, Dr. Yoon's research teams worked around the clock developing new applications for kinetic weapons technology. They designed railguns that could fire tungsten projectiles at even higher velocities. They created guided kinetic missiles that could strike targets in space with pinpoint accuracy. "We are revolutionizing space warfare," Dr. Yoon explained to President Han during their weekly briefing. Energy weapons require massive power sources and complex targeting systems. Kinetic weapons are simple, reliable, and impossible to jam or deflect. How long before we have space-based kinetic weapons operational? The first orbital defense platforms will be ready in 18 months. After that, any alien ship that approaches Earth will face the same surprise the Dominion received. As Earth prepared for future encounters, news of humanity's defensive capabilities continued spreading through the galaxy. Resistance movements on conquered worlds began requesting information about kinetic weapons. Some species started developing their own versions of tungsten core ammunition. The Dominion Council met in emergency session to address the growing crisis. Their military superiority, built over 2,000 years of conquest, was crumbling as other species learned that simple bullets could defeat their technology. "We have reports of kinetic weapon development on 14 worlds," Supreme Admiral Krex announced. "The humans have started a revolution that threatens our entire empire. What do you recommend?" asked Council Leader Zephyr. "We must develop new shield technology immediately. Our current defenses are obsolete. We also need to consider diplomatic contact with Earth." The suggestion horrified the Council. The Dominion had never negotiated with species they considered primitive. But the alternative was watching their empire collapse as every conquered world learned to fight back with kinetic weapons. On Earth, President Han received an unexpected message through long-range communication arrays. The transmission came from deep space, using frequencies that had never been detected before. "People of Earth," the message began. "This is Ambassador Chen of the Free Worlds Alliance. We represent 47 species that have gained independence from galactic empires. We have heard of your victory over the Dominion Collective. We wish to propose an alliance." President Han stared at the message in amazement. Humanity's victory had not just saved Earth. It had inspired an entire galaxy of oppressed species to fight for their freedom. The weapons that aliens had dismissed as primitive were becoming the tools of galactic liberation. "General Kim," President Han called, "convene an emergency session of the Global Defense Council." It appears humanity is about to become very popular in the galaxy. Master Sergeant Sunho stood on the firing range of the Earth Defense Academy, watching his students practice the skills that had saved civilization. Each bullet they fired carried the potential to defend not just Earth, but dozens of worlds across the galaxy. The aliens had been right about one thing. Human weapons were primitive compared to energy shields and plasma cannons. But they had been wrong about what that meant. Sometimes the oldest weapons, wielded with perfect skill and absolute determination, proved more powerful than the most advanced technology. As Sunho watched another student hit a target at 3 miles distance, he smiled slightly. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Never underestimate the species that still believed in the power of a well-placed shot. Earth's reputation as the most dangerous world in known space was well-deserved, not because humans had the best technology, but because they had mastered the art of precision warfare. In a galaxy full of energy weapons and computer-guided missiles, the humble bullet remained the most feared weapon of all.